So recently I posted on social media, I would be discussing power, media, and something that happened. So here we go. As you know, in 2019, I came forward about what Joe Biden did to me. I came forward slowly. In 2019, a local reporter had gotten a hold of me, and it was a male. It was on the phone. It was not in person. And he asked me some very kind of jarring questions, and I got really kind of nervous and scared and told about the sexual harassment, but stopped short of the sexual assault I experienced. Finally, in 2020, I came forward with the entirety of what I experienced and Joe Biden, working for Joe Biden in his office, because it was over a series of months. And then it culminated with the sexual assault. And after that, when I tried to report to the US Senate, that filing has been somehow sealed in Joe Biden's records or destroyed. I don't know. Since then, I did try to report it to the US Senate, as I said, that I don't know what happened to that. That's been the subject of question, so to speak, regarding Joe Biden. My mother also called Larry King's show. She had wanted me at the time to go to the police. But safe to say that for decades, pretty much the only people I told were friends and family, close friends or family. A couple of acquaintances in the right kind of circumstance. When it came up, I discussed the sexual assault. People have come to me and remembered, of course, they were close to me. I have my cooperating witnesses. I have all of that. I was going to testify, as I said. I was prepared for any kind of investigation and really wanted to move forward with that. I ended up doing a interview in depth with Katie Halper, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson that goes into details, if you want to look those up, about the sexual assault. I don't want to talk about that here. What I want to talk about is the way I was treated by the media, particularly Ronan Farrow, and who's supposed to be the MeToo reporter. And that's the subject today. Ronan Farrow is the MeToo reporter, called that because he wrote a book called Catch and Kill, which is a journalistic term. That means catching a story and then killing it. Pithy title. He recently did a podcast called Not a Very Good Murderer. Interestingly enough, this woman, Cece Doan, a former Miss Arizona and a Trump supporter, had come forward about her sexual assault, I guess, in earlier, I don't know exactly when, but she contacted me. I did not engage with her, but rather passed it on to Ronan Farrow. That's where he got the information, and via email. He has dedicated this whole podcast to basically discrediting her, talking about her rather colorful life and different things that happened to her, as well as touching on what her allegations were against Biden. In episode 4, right at the beginning, he talks about that, and he also mentions me, and he dismisses me as if, and to listen to it, you would think that he didn't really have much contact with me, but he did. Actually, he talked to me in May of 2020. We never did FaceTime. We never met in person. He only talked to me on the phone. But I developed trust for him. So did some of my family members and my daughter. He was going to write an article supposedly for the New Yorker and said there wasn't at the end of it. And I cried when he told me that he wasn't going to have it. Of course, he wasn't going to have it in the New Yorker. I mean, now that I understand the New Yorker and David Resnick, of course, that was never going to be in the New Yorker. David Resnick has never written anything critical of Biden and would certainly not write such an explosive piece that would compromise him in any way. So I was silly to think that truth would prevail, right? But I did. I was naive and I believed Ronan. And Ronan used a term. He said, well, there just wasn't a there. And he wanted like multiple people coming forward like they did with Weinstein. Well, Weinstein was hated by a lot of people. Joe Biden is a different story. He's a politician, president of the United States, but at this time he was a presidential candidate. He had access to a lot of money, a lot of power, and a lot of people that had an agenda that wanted to see him succeed. I naively thought truth would prevail, and I was wrong. Very, very wrong. I was almost bullied to death to try to be kept silent, right? I had social media coming after me. I had, Democratic operatives coming after me. And then once Biden got into power, he weaponized the DOJ and FBI and threatened to have me imprisoned. There's even still a sealed case in Northern California. All of my social media was analyzed, all of my communications taken in by the FBI and DOJ because I was considered a political opponent at that point because I was speaking out against Biden. This is really a dangerous thing for survivors, but there certainly was never a safe platform for me to come forward. I came forward to Time's Up at first before I went public. Anita Dunn was the founder of that Well, Anita Dunn was already on Biden's payroll and I didn't know it. Her PR firm was already getting paid. And then she went on to be the White House special advisor. And Law and Crime did a great job of exposing this about how much money through the FEC that Biden received while I was coming forward about my story. So this leads me to the question about Ronan Farrow. Ronan Farrow has a previous history of working for Hillary Clinton at the State Department. He's pretty protective of Democrats. He did a one-off article on Cuomo, but basically we even went after the survivor in that, kind of making it seem like she was difficult to work with and took his shots there. He's basically, and what makes me wonder and other people wonder, is he a political operative posing as a reporter, or is he actually just an investigative reporter? That's not really clear. I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe he's a hybrid of both. But I do know that the reporting by Michael Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi have revealed how much intelligence has infiltrated media to try to shape public opinion. And Ronan Farrow definitely attempts to shape public opinion with his reporting. Case in point, his recent podcast, Not a Very Good Murderer, while he's discrediting CeCe Doan throughout the whole thing, kind of, basically putting down the fact that she's a Trump supporter, referring to them as political extremists, saying that they listen to disinformation, those kinds of things. He's using it to basically shape, again, political opinion, saying that crime in America is being weaponized, like that information is disinformation, to paraphrase. Okay, listen to the podcast for yourself. But basically, what I got out of that is, again, trying to shape that narrative that whatever the Trump supporters are telling you isn't true. Republicans are not right. Democrats are good. Joe Biden's good. Listen to me. I'm Ronan Farrow. I'm the MeToo reporter. At the beginning of episode 4, he also trashes me. And, you would think he never even knew me. It was very painful to hear because, my daughter trusted him. And at the time when she was going through a hard time, he even spoke with her about what it's like to be a child in public scrutiny. He's the child of Woody Allen and Mia Farrow, so he knows what that's like. And, she really benefited from her interactions with him at that time. And so this was really painful for her and for me, and devastating that he chose to use his platform to take a shot at me rather than fairly cover what happened to me. It lacked, emotional intelligence. And saying to a survivor of sexual assault is really triggering, saying something like, there's no there. And I know other sexual assault survivors that are listening are cringing because it lacks such emotional intelligence. First of all, our experiences shouldn't be condensed down to whether people believe us or not. It's taken me a long time to try to heal from the fact that people won't believe me because it challenges their political beliefs. They simply will, or even if they do believe me, they don't care. It's so painful on so many different levels, what Ronan Farrow said. It's hard for me to talk about logically, but I'm trying to just lay this out logically and in a way that's that you can comprehend without getting, me crying on a video is not going to help you, but me laying out the political facts and the actual facts and the political realities of trying to shape a narrative, I think is more to everyone's experience, right? So here we are. My lawyer has issued a demand letter that he remove the comments about me from episode 4. There is an HBO documentary coming out. I hope I'm not mentioned in it. I was told and warned by several reporters, and I don't mean 1 or 2, but I mean 4 or 5, that I would be his equalizer piece. Like, watch out for Ronan Farrow. You're going to be his equalizer piece. I didn't really understand what that meant. And now I understand it means basically he'd gone after all these men. Now he had to go after women. Now, why he would choose at this point in his career, 5 years later, and Biden's no longer in power, to take a shot at me and try to discredit me, as well as this woman, CeCe Doan, who's an older woman. She's like 73. I'm older. Like, why go after older women that have no way to fight back or really tell their truth? It's really kind of sad, isn't it? But maybe that's where he is in his career. I don't know. But I can say this. I'm going to say something that's kind of controversial. And that is I'm addressing to the survivors that follow me. If you are watching what I've gone through, then you know the totality. I'm living in another country under political asylum. I've lost everything. I don't even own a car anymore. I'm away from my family, my pets, the people that I love. It's very, very difficult. Russia's been very good to me. RT has been very good to me. I work for RT now as a geopolitical analyst. I'm very grateful for that work. But I should be able to live and work in my own country, and I can't because I came out against a powerful person. There was no safe platform for me. So the controversial part of what I'm going to say is this. If you had an experience like mine with a powerful person, don't share it. What I've learned about this is there's no justice. There's no fairness. Our society does not have the emotional intelligence to deal with this subject matter very well. You will have your life torn to pieces like I did, and it's not worth it. And even if you're someone who wants to be in the public light, you don't want to be in the public light in this way. There's a difference between being famous and notorious. No one wants to be notorious. No one wants to be like Anna Karenina, right? You don't want to be seen in this light and be used as a political football, which is exactly how my story is used. That's what I wanted to say. Protect yourself, protect your family. If I had to go back, I would have remained silent. And that's what I know now, because coming forward wasn't worth it. I know in the past I've said, oh yes, it's worth it. You fight for I've never had any justice. I never will. I thought under this new administration, maybe they would look at the DOJ and FBI weaponization. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they still will, hopefully. But as far as investigating Biden, no one's going to do that. No one. He got away with it. He sexually assaulted me, covered it up, and then tried to destroy me to the point of almost killing me. That's no joke. I literally almost died. So heed my words. It's not worth it. There's no one that's going to help you. And the people that are supposed to help you will harm you if you are threatening their political world. That's all I wanted to say. As far as Ronan Farrow goes, I've learned a lesson, again, to not trust those who appear that you can trust them. Time's Up taught me the same thing. They weren't what they seemed to be. They were wolf in sheep's clothing. And there's a lot of wolves out there. So be careful. Protect your family, protect yourself, protect your heart. Focus on healing. That's what I'm doing. I'm really looking in gratitude at what I do have, which is right now I have safety. I have comfort. I have a job. I have people around me here in Russia that care for me. And my family is safe. So I'm thankful for all of that. Anyway, that's all I have to say on this matter. Take care. Don't let political operatives shape your narratives. Think critically, look carefully, follow the money. Take care.